Thank you for tuning in to the Behavioral Wealth Consulting Podcast, where our mission is to help you change your behavioral decisions by improving your financial literacy. If you want to live a more fulfilling life and get on track towards your long-term financial goals, it requires changing behaviors, developing a plan, and prioritizing your financial decisions. Now to your host and certified personal finance consultant, Richard Maricut.
Hello, and thank you for joining me today for episode number 7. I am your host, Richard Maricut, where my goal is to help you change your behavioral decisions by improving your financial literacy. On today's episode, I'm going to be covering some information explaining blockchain technology, how that supports cryptocurrency, along with other uses of blockchain technology, because there's definitely more than the most common cryptocurrency that we often hear. But before we begin, just a reminder, I am not a financial advisor. This information is for educational purposes only. Always consult with your own financial advisor before making any financial decisions based on your personal situation. So, before we get into cryptocurrency, I want you to understand blockchain technology and how that supports crypto and a few other technology items that you'll probably continue to hear more about. So blockchain technology, or blockchain, is a decentralized, distributed, and oftentimes public ledger that consists of records or blocks that is used to record transactions across many computers, so that any involved block cannot be altered retroactively without the alteration of subsequent blocks. And what that pretty much means is, if you think about a bank with ledgers where you would write down transactions, these blocks would be similar to writing something down. The main difference is, or the biggest difference is, that once a transaction is captured in a block, it can't be altered or changed. So again, comparing it to something in a notebook that could be erased and written over, blockchain prevents that kind of alteration from occurring. Once it's stamped, it will always be identified. This allows participants to verify and audit transactions independently, and then relatively inexpensive. So there's no centralized official copy that exists, meaning there's no single owner of this information, and no user is trusted more than any other. This means transactions are broadcasted to the wider network using software. Again, comparing this to a brick and mortar bank, that physical bank location might be considered the centralized owner. Well, with blockchain, there isn't a single owner. There's multiple servers that would maintain this information, again, preventing any one person to modify without the rest knowing. So, an example of how blockchain could be used, there was a report of a bad batch of lettuce that was reported, and a manual tracking of which farm produced the lettuce, which trucks the lettuce traveled on, the stores that it was delivered to. It would take approximately 6 days for someone to manually audit and track down the recall of this bad batch of lettuce. This can cause a over recall of non-impacted lettuce, which for the industry would cost millions of dollars, and a lengthy time, bad public relations, and potentially weeks of delay tied to a single incident. If blockchain was incorporated in this type of example, where the records of every step of the lettuce shipping across the process or moving through the process was tracked, it could take approximately 2 seconds, 3 seconds to find out the details. That's because with the blockchain technology, again, following the process, it would be stamped and available for easy auditing that can be done almost instantaneously. From a security standpoint, because blockchain reports every digital transactions across hundreds of thousands or even millions of servers, it is said to be nearly impossible to hack or change a digital transaction because you would have to change every single ledger transaction. Whereas in a centralized system, again, like a bank, the human intervention could always alter documents. And that's kind of the basis of why cryptocurrency is so popular, is because it's supported with the notion that it is not centralized. There isn't a primary owner, and that is getting a lot of support. Some of the other blockchain uses. So let's talk about how blockchain is used in the industry. So one of the first and probably most well-known uses for blockchain technology is cryptocurrency. So most cryptocurrencies, such as Bitcoin or Ethereum, they use blockchain technology. And now we're probably seeing more and more companies are beginning to use blockchain as part of their digital growth. It's probably still too early to tell. And if you're someone who's been watching cryptocurrency prices, you've seen that there's a lot of volatility in the price point for most cryptocurrencies, right? Especially the most popular, again, with Bitcoin, Ethereum, and a few others. Another use of blockchain is smart contracts. So with smart contracts, transactions between two people that would normally require paying a third party to handle a transaction could potentially be eliminated, reducing some of the fees that are involved. So, for example, when you're purchasing a home or a car, or even sport contracts or entertainment contracts, maybe even in the future coming down to the way we handle voting, right? Smart contracts having accurate transaction details that can be monitored and viewed and not changed. Again, I do think that blockchain technology could be something that will continue to support smart contracts, right? So if you think about when you purchase a home, and if you ever looked at the details of all of the fees that are associated with purchasing a home, a lot of times there's other companies involved that are taking or charging fees because they're involved with either validating information or responsible for pulling up information of yours in order to complete a transaction. Well, smart contract in this example would allow you to work directly with the seller and being able to confirm your information that you would normally use for credit, application for funding. And it would create a high trust that what information you're sharing is accurate because they would be able to verify it. Okay. The next one is financial services. So many banks, many banks have expressed interest in implementing blockchain because of its potential ability to speed up back office settlements. Okay. Keep in mind that there could be significant resistance to implementing blockchains broadly in banking systems because it also has the potential to eliminate the multiple fees that they would typically charge to consumers, and that makes it more difficult for the banks to navigate around, right? Again, if you take a look at most of your financial transactions, there's all these additional fees, and these are fees where companies are making money. So if you were to eliminate some of those additional steps, naturally that could cause some financial industries to frown upon that because they now lose the ability to add those additional fees. The next one is the video gaming industry. The video gaming industry, from the time that I was a kid in the 80s, late 80s and early 90s, has definitely become more mainstream. As we have gotten more towards a virtual reality type of world. Video gaming continues to gain popularity. The use of blockchain technology will allow virtual reality payments, purchases, NFT purchases to become easier to transact. Another use for blockchain is the energy trading. So neighborhoods will have the ability to share unused electricity to neighbors since power companies are unable to store generated energy. This potentially could reduce the average homeowner electricity bills by allowing neighbors to purchase unused energy at a lower price from their neighbors than what a power company would charge. And I think this is a great example. I would love to see this one gain more traction, but if you had the ability to purchase unused energy that has already been generated by the power company, but instead of you paying the power company at their price, you're purchasing it from your neighbor who's potentially selling it at a lower price because they're no longer using it. Might take us a while to get there, but just that just gives you hopefully an idea of the power of blockchain. And then the last one is healthcare. In response to the COVID pandemic, there was a company called Ernst & Young that was working on blockchain to help employers, governments, airlines, and others keep track of who may have had antibody tests and could be immune to the virus. Hospitals could also use blockchain technology to help speed up health insurance payments to be paid to healthcare providers and patients. So again, it's providing almost a real-time environment in a lot of these industries. So let's talk about the crypto security. Just share some examples of blockchain uses, but let's focus now on crypto security. Okay, so if you're investing in crypto security or cryptocurrency, one of the most important things to understand about it, especially as your investment grows, is how do you store it and protect it? Okay. So a few things. There's something called private keys, which is a sophisticated form of cryptography that allows you to access your cryptocurrency. When you have access to private keys, you basically have access to the funds. And some wallets allow you to control your private keys, and some, however, are custodial and don't, meaning the company has access to it and owns the keys. You have the ability to view it, but you're not the true owner because you don't possess the private keys. Owning and having access to your private keys gives you more power and more control of your cryptocurrency, but you also need to make sure that you're keeping these safe, secure, and offline. If you're keeping cryptocurrency in an exchange such as Robinhood or Webull or even like Coinbase Basic, they're considered custodial. So therefore, you're entrusting a third party with these private keys and mandating them to serve as your safeguard. Okay, so understand that. A wallet is a secured digital wallet and that it's used to store, send, and receive digital currency like Bitcoin, for example. And although I mentioned store, cryptocurrency isn't actually stored in a wallet. It's stored on Coin's blockchain. Okay, so your wallet is just the software designed to interact with the blockchain. So instead, your wallet stores addresses, not the actual crypto tokens. So there are 4 types of wallets that you can use to manage crypto assets. There is hot wallets, which include online and software. And then there's cold wallets, which include hardware and paper. Okay, so hot wallets are online and software. Cold wallets are hardware and paper. So to describe this a little bit more, cold wallets. A hardware wallet is a cryptocurrency wallet which stores the user's private keys in a secure hardware device. The main principle behind hardware wallets is to provide full isolation between private keys and your easy-to-hack computer or smartphone. Right, so keep that in mind. Hardware wallets typically cost anywhere from $50 to $200. So make sure that when you buy these, you're buying these new and from a reputable company. A paper wallet, as the name suggests, involves printing private keys and corresponding addresses and basically just simply storing them. It's a good way to keep your cryptocurrencies offline, but it will require you to pay a lot of attention and care to these pieces of paper, right? If your paper correspondence gets lost or destroyed, you basically can permanently lose your access to your crypto funds. So that's a big caution on using, paper wallet. On the hot wallet side, online wallets are online services that enable you to access your cryptocurrency from any browser that is connected to the internet. So with an online wallet, you don't download an app, but rather data is hosted on a real or virtual server. Some online wallets allow you to control private keys, while others, again, are just custodial where they won't. Some non-custodial online wallets are blockchain.com, my Ether wallet, and some other of the custodial online wallets are things like Coinbase and Binance, other popular companies. Software wallets, these are applications used for managing cryptocurrencies that can be installed on your computer or smartphone. With these, you remain in control of your private keys, which are not shared or controlled by a third party. Some software wallets include companies like Atomic Wallet, Exodus, Coinbase Wallet, which is different than Coinbase Pro. So there was an article by kingpassive.com that talked about 10 easy ways to pick cryptocurrencies if this is an area that you're looking to invest in. But according to investorpedia.com, there are probably over 4,000 cryptocurrencies in existence since January of 2021. While many of these cryptos have little to no following or trading, some end up getting a lot of attention and popularity through social media memes, and that causes a lot of volatility and price action. But they probably don't have real day-to-day value. So just keep that in mind. So let's go over some of these top 10 items based on kingpassive.com. Again, their view of ways to pick which cryptocurrency to invest in. Number one on the list was the community. So a big part of the cryptocurrency success is its following. So look out for cryptos with strong communities and loyalty from its followers, because that shows that people may have a genuine interest and belief in that, and that could, of course, support price increase over time. The second one is fundamental analysis. This simply means the foundations of the investment, the team ambitions, and their strengths, right? So the creator of that cryptocurrency and all the support and the who are we of that cryptocurrency is something that you may want to assess before investing. The team, one of the top things you can research is the cryptocurrency's team. Who's behind the cryptocurrency? Are they ambitious? Do you trust their expertise? Do they have a proven track record? Again, there's been plenty of stories of fraudulent cryptocurrencies that are set up. People buy them because of the hype, and then because these are decentralized funds, basically, there's nothing preventing someone to just shut it down, take your money, and you've now lost everything. All right, so doing your research on the team could help give you an understanding of the validity of that company. Number 4 on the list, the technology. So a big part of the cryptocurrency success is the underlying technology. You have to understand how it's going to perform against its competitors. What makes the technology stand out from the crowd? Are they big innovators? This is such a saturated part of the industry right now. Again, probably more than 5,000 now different cryptocurrencies that exist. So before you put your money in any of them, understand the technology behind it and how that company plans on using it. Number 5, titled the white paper. Every time a new cryptocurrency is released, they usually bring out a white paper. This helps to outline the purpose of the coin, its technology, and how it works, and its overall visions. So when you're reviewing the white paper, watch out for red flags such as promising unrealistic goals, maybe sounding too ambitious, and even simple things like spelling and grammar errors in the paper itself could be flags that there may be some falsification of information about that company. Number 6 is the vision. You want to make sure that you're going to be, that company's going to be around for at least 5 to 10 years. So if they're not thinking long term, that could be a problem if you're looking for long-term investment. Number 7, the leadership. The success of a coin is navigated by the leadership team, right? So again, research the team, the leaders, to see what they've achieved in the past, what they specialize in, and then if they're personally invested in the project and the coin itself, right? What has been their reputation in previous or current roles? That could give you a sense of whether or not that Bitcoin will be around. Number 8 is the pricing history. So review historical price ranges and ask yourself, are they volatile in value, right? How much price fluctuation has occurred in the last 3-6 months or a year? When the market overall takes a dip, how did that price point react? Okay. Number 9 is credibility and reputation. Is the currency respected online? Right? So that you could find that kind of information with simple Google searches or even on most social media platforms, right? Do they have a strong reputation, or are people, pointing out, very clear red flags about that currency? Again, take that into consideration. And number 10, the roadmap. So when you're deciding which cryptocurrency to invest in, you should look for a coin with a solid roadmap, strong plans for development. Look for clear timelines for the development of the coin. When are they planning any major releases? And, what kind of problems will they solve? If the coin has a limited number of coins in circulation, when is that limit expected to be reached? That could have a play on the value of it. Okay, so those were the top 10, but, definitely consider them all. Again, that's something for you to take into consideration when you're building out your profile portfolio. Again, do your research. Can't stress that enough. Make sure you're doing your research. So that's it for today's podcast. If you enjoyed today's session, I'd appreciate giving me a positive rating on whatever podcast platform you may be listening on. It helps me get my message out to more users to help improve their financial literacy. And for more information about my services, please visit behavioralwealthconsulting.com. Also, if you'd like to hear more about a specific topic on future episodes, email me at behavioralwealthconsulting@gmail.com. Thank you for listening.
Thanks for listening to the Behavioral Wealth Consulting podcast. For more information on how we can help you design an effective financial strategy through behavioral changes, visit us at behavioralwealthconsulting.com.